Hi there, and good afternoon. I'm John.
I'm Zen. And I'm Julie.
We're with C Nation, and you are tuned in to the 50 Days of Cannabis podcast, where we examine the cannabis laws in each of the 50 states.
Oh, hold on, John. You missed one.
I did. The District of Columbia is also included in this. We just thought 50 days sounded a little better than 51.
Today we're looking at the cannabis laws in Maine, and today it's just me and Julie.
Hi.
John is off doing things for C Nation, planning events and such.
So stay tuned. It's really exciting news coming up, so just stay tuned.
The Pine Tree State has decriminalized small amounts of cannabis for personal use. The remainder of its cannabis-related charges are both misdemeanors and felonies, simply labeled as crime. In short, there are far worse places to be than the Great State of Maine if you're a cannabis enthusiast. Possession of between 2.5 ounces and 8 ounces is punishable up to 6 months in jail and a fine of $1,000.
Not bad.
Possession of between 8 ounces and a pound is punishable up to a year in jail and a max fine of $2,000. Possession of any amount of cannabis greater than a pound is punishable between 5 and 10 years in prison, with financial penalties ranging between $5,000 and $20,000.
So you can have less than 2.5 ounces. That's pretty much what it's
2.5 ounces, you're good to go.
So just stick with the 2.5 ounces. Don't go any more higher. Don't get conceited and say, I can carry more. Just do 2.5. That's all you need.
Also, do not smoke it in public, because that's a civil infraction. It'll cost you $100. So don't do it.
Don't do it in public either. Just be smart about it. All right, so do they have a medical program in Maine?
Registered medical cannabis patients in Maine may possess up to 2.5 ounces of usable cannabis and may cultivate up to 6 mature cannabis plants.
Sweet. So I would rather go the medical route because it's probably cheaper in taxes and stuff like that. So just go the medical route if you do have a medical issue regarding any kind of issues for that. So that's good. What about their hemp program?
Well, passed in 2009, LD 1159, an act relating to industrial hemp, allows a person to grow industrial hemp if that person holds a license issued by the Commissioner of Agriculture, Food, and Rural Resources, and the hemp is grown under a federal permit in compliance with the conditions of that permit. Separate legislation enacted in 2015, LD 4, removes the requirement that state licensing be contingent upon additional action by the federal government to exclude hemp from the federal definition of cannabis.
Yeah, and it's pretty much just going to be getting out of there anyways. It's going to be illegal in pretty much every 50 states, so...
People need to learn science. Hemp is not the same.
Exactly. It doesn't get you high. It's actually good for other products, papers, stuff like that. So it's just going to be changing the world anyways in regards to that. So let's go ahead and talk about them sellers and growers. The sale of distribution of 1 pound or less of cannabis in Maine is punishable up to 1 year in jail and a maximum fine of $2,000. The sale of distribution of any amount greater than 1 pound is punishable between 5 and 10 years in prison, with financial penalties ranging between $5,000 and $20,000. So if you're selling, just don't do any more than a pound. It's just ridiculous. I'm just kidding. Just don't do it at all. All right, let's talk about them sellers. The growers. Cultivation more than 6 plants but less than 100 plants is punishable between 1 year in jail and a maximum fine of $2,000. So just grow less than 6 plants and you'll be fine. The cultivation of any number of cannabis plants greater than 100 is punishable between 5 and 10 years in prison, with financial penalties ranging between $5,000 and $20,000. All right.
So no farming.
No farming, yeah.
Without a permit.
Just keep it with the permit and license people that do it correctly. All right. Paraphernalia. You can have it. You can possess paraphernalia, but if you sell it, it's a crime. We'll give you 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine. If you sell to a minor, it's also a crime with 1 year and $2,000 fine.
So if you can have it, but you can't sell it, where do people get it?
They're going to have to get it to the people that have the licensing, the taxing. And
so at the 8 state licensed dispensaries.
Exactly, the dispensaries. So make sure you buy it from the correct people. If you're a glass blower, don't try to sell it, because then you're going to be spending some time. Just go to the dispensaries and see if they'll sell your products. So let's go ahead and talk about more serious note, which is selling to a minor. If you sell to a minor or within 1,000 feet of a school or a school bus, it's a big, bad crime. So it will give you 5 years and $5,000 fine. So just don't sell to minors.
Nope.
Just be an adult. Just stay responsible. Just don't do it. Stay away from those school buses too.
Yep.
For a more comprehensive look at the cannabis laws in Maine, please visit us at cnation.com and click on the state-by-state link. Remember, you have rights if you're arrested for any cannabis-related reasons. You have the constitutional right to remain silent until your attorney is present. If you don't have an attorney, ask for one. This is Julie
and Zen
with C Nation, bringing you a snapshot of the cannabis laws in Maine.
Be safe.
Stay informed!
The 50 Days of Cannabis podcast is a copyrighted production of the South American Gold Corporation.
We appreciate your likes and shares on social media.
Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at CNation Channel.